I love chips. Honestly, probably more than most people. I'll easily go through 1 to 2 packets of these a week. But I just found out a packet of these takes 50 to 80 years to break down. And honestly, that's not good enough. So today I'm going to be making my own, and they're going to be cheaper, better, and tastier than normal chips. So let's make it, shall we? I'll be starting off with the classic salt and vinegar chips. These were a staple in my lunchbox as a kid. I'm going to start by thinly slicing the potatoes on a mandolin. I'd always recommend using a mandolin because you're going to get a way more consistent shape and size. These are Sebago potatoes, but if you can find them, use russet potatoes. I'm going to be placing the potatoes in equal parts water and vinegar and letting them soak for 20 to 30 minutes. This is going to draw out any extra starch and make those potatoes extra crispy. After 20 minutes, I'm simply going to rinse off the potatoes, drying them with a tea towel because there's no paper towels in my household, then bring a pot of oil up to 180 degrees and fry those bad boys up. This will take anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, but you can usually tell when the chips change colour and begin to float. Then to finish, just some flaky salt, and that's it, your salt and vinegar classic chips. Next up, I wanted to take on possibly Australia's favourite chip, lime and black pepper. I swear though, Red Rock Deli isn't as good as it used to be. Maybe that's why I'm making my own chips now. Instead of vinegar this time, I'm using lime juice. I'm using a mixture of 75% lime juice and 25% water. The chips are still going to be soaked for 20 to 30 minutes, just like the last ones, and still drained out and pat dry. As I mentioned before, guys, I no longer buy paper towels. I feel like it's a real easy swap to make. I just use tea towels. Let me know in the comments what's something that you've cut out in your life. To finish the chips, I'm going to be making a lime and black pepper seasoning. I'm starting by zesting 4 limes using a microplane. This is going to go into the oven set at 100 degrees for about 2 to 3 hours. I'm using the same limes for zest and juice so nothing gets wasted. Then into the blender I'm going to be placing some flaky salt, some peppercorns, and some of that dried lime zest from before. Don't forget to plug your blender in first before you turn it on. And now our blender is actually turned on. We're going to whiz up the spices for about 2 to 3 minutes until everything's combined. And there you have it, guys, lime and black pepper seasoning, which I'm going to salt bay on top of those beautifully cooked chips. For the final flavour, chicken chips. I'm not a fan of chicken chips, but I wanted to see if I can improve on the store-bought version. After slicing the chips, I'm going to be soaking them in chicken stock, but let's back up for a second. We've got to make our own stock first. Start by roughly slicing 1 onion and 2 carrots. I don't usually bother about peeling the carrots when I'm making stock. Then these are going to go into a large pot with a chicken carcass left over from Sunday night dinner. Then I'm going to be filling it with water. And then I'm going to be adding a couple of aromats like peppercorns and bay leaves. You can use whatever aromats you like, but I wanted to make this stock as simple as possible. This is going to simmer for about 4 to 6 hours, and it's a great way to use up that excess chicken carcass and bones left over from dinner. After that, I'm just going to pass it through a sieve. If you're using the chicken stock to make the chips, please let it cool down first or make it the day before, because it's going to cook the chips if you try and make it directly afterwards. The chips go straight back into that hot oil set at 180 degrees, and we're going to fry it for 2 to 5 minutes until they're crispy. To season the chips, I thought to myself, how can I get the most amount of chicken flavour? Chicken skin. I started by drying the chicken skin in the oven for about 2 to 3 hours until it was completely dry and crispy. Then placing it in a blender with 2 tablespoons of salt. This was a little hard to blend, but honestly, the results were amazing. Homemade chicken salt and chicken chips, honestly, the childhood nostalgia is real. After seasoning the chips, we've got ourselves 3 flavors, all completely homemade and all delicious. You gotta try this at home, guys. So we have an absolute array of chips. Lime and black pepper, chicken, and just salt and vinegar. These cost me almost nothing to make. Super cheap, super easy, super simple, and delicious. Let's have a taste, shall we? Surprisingly, the chicken chips were my favorite. The real taste of chicken was what set them apart from the supermarket version. These will last about 2 to 3 days in an airtight container, but I guarantee they won't last that long. Sorry guys, I got a bit caught up in the moment there. These are absolutely delicious. These are way better than any store-bought chips. You're not buying those chip packets anymore that take 50 or 80 years to break down. And we're reducing our environmental impact by snacking. That's something we can all get around, can't we? Yeah.